if you remember, we're the finest in the land. We play at wakes and weddings and at every fancy ball. But when we play at funerals, we play the best of all. Oh, the drums go bang and the cymbals clang, horns they blaze away. McCarthy pumps the old-bassoon while I the pipes to play. Oh, Hennessy, Tennessee, toodle the flute, and the music is simply grand. A credit to old Ireland is back to Barrow's back. Da-da-da, come on! Da-da-da-da, 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 da-da-da-da. And now we are invited to a very small affair. One the gentry, all the gentry will be there. Now General Grant from Ireland came, he took me by the hand. He said I'd never seen the likes of McNamara's band. Oh, the drums go bang and the cymbals clang, horns they blaze away. McCarthy pumps the old bassoon while I the pipes to play. Oh, Hennessy, Tennessee, toodle the flute, and the music is simply grand. Our credit to old Ireland is McNamara's band. Okay, let's hear it, let's hear it. I'd like to welcome all of you to this beautiful space provided us by Blarney. This is the annual VIP reception. Hey, if everybody could come down here, please. Come on, bring that, Doris, bring that crowd down here. We have some great entertainment for you. So the last 2 years, we planned to have the event here in this space, and we had blizzards the last 2 years. So this year we're blessed with wonderful weather. So we thank you for all coming, especially our great sponsors. And I'd like to invite Dean Williams up, who would like to welcome all of you to his great office space here in Amelia. Dean.
Thank you, Bob. I can promise you I will not sing. And that's a good thing. But thank you all for coming. I got to tell you, I've been involved in this organization through cohorts of Bob Baines and Steven Singer. And I was going to say earlier that you're all here because of the generosity in your hearts. But I think it's probably more that you cannot say no to the dynamic duo. I mean, these guys, they come in every year, they sit down, and it's like arm wrestling as to how much it's going to be. But thank you for coming. This mill was, I'll give you a little quick history, okay? This mill was built in 1915. It is the second newest in Manchester. The newest is the Carroll Cable Building, which is across the river. While they were building this, they were actually tearing down the one that was here before it. So there's a lot of history here, and I think it fits in with what's going on here tonight, and particularly with the Shirley Roulat and the International Institute and Refugees and Immigrants. Because what do you think filled these mills with both workers to build the mills and workforce to work in the mills? Now, not always of the best of circumstances, but they still helped build MSK Manufacturing to be one of the largest companies privately owned back in that time in the late 20s. Word is they were bringing $8 million to the bottom line back then in the late 20s. So very, very successful company. Other than that, you know, have a good time. We've got some food, we've got some wine, we've got some spirits, and we have Bob Baines, and then after that it's all downhill. Right? But anyway, thank you, Bob.
Appreciate it. So we've been doing this event for 19 years. Next year will be our 20th. And over the course of those 19 years, I think we're approaching $1.3 million for our charities. And our charities are Special Olympics New Hampshire, the American Red Cross is, the Singer family with the Gail Singer blood drives, the largest single-day blood drive in the country that Stephen organized every year. And then the Shirley Roulat Fund, which is really very special to us. In memory of my late sister, when she was dying in 2006, I said to her, what can we do to make sure that we remember you? And she said, I want to do something to help my friend Ann. And Ann Sanderson was the head of the International Institute here in Manchester. And I'm very proud I was the first mayor to visit the International Institute, because there was an attitude out there that refugees and immigrants were not welcomed in our community. And every year I invited immigrants and refugees to take part in my inaugural ceremonies to give a message that immigrants are welcomed in our city, and they make our city better and stronger. And our guest speaker that you'll hear tomorrow from Afghanistan, afflicted with polio, came to the United States, enrolled at Southern New Hampshire University, got a degree in information technology, and now she works at Southern New Hampshire University. And we're so proud that you're going to be with us and speak tomorrow. So let's give it a warm round of applause. The president of SNU will be here tomorrow morning to introduce you, because she said you're just like family to her. So that's kind of awesome. So we do recognize my sister Shirley with the Shirley Brulot Fund that helps refugees when they transition to Manchester and help with basic things like supplies for babies, things that help them out in everyday furniture, whatever they need. We have a fund there that helps them with their transition. And we're very proud. Every year we present the Shirley Brulot Community Service Award. And Dawn and Gail York are here tonight, who operated Indian Head Athletics in Manchester for 45 years. They're here with their son Dylan. And I had all the York clan at West. I didn't have Dylan, because how many years were between Dylan and the other one? 16 years. And I remember Gail coming into my office, and I had the other kids at West, and she said, "Mr. Page, you're not going to believe this, I'm pregnant." And here he is, 24 years later. So we're going to recognize them with that award. And one great story is, I don't think I've told the Yorks this, when they were on Canal Street, I needed a date for my senior prom at Memorial High School, and a friend of mine who had been to grammar school with, Sharon Katikas, was working there, and I needed to get up the courage to ask her to go to the prom with me, and I basically went down to Indian Head Athletics and stalked her for about 2 hours before I got up the courage to ask her to go to the prom with me, and she did. So was one of my first dates, was because of Indian Athletics. So it's kind of a fun story, and so we're very pleased also introduce Mark Hebert from the Harbor Group. Tim Riley and I became friends, his partner, on the board of the university system, and Tim said to me, I'd like you to come in and talk to us. We'd like to get involved with the Blarney Breakfast. I think it's now 7 years they've been our lead sponsor. So please welcome Mark. Come on up. And he's got a Steve Singer tie on, I noticed. So, Steve does bribe some of our sponsors, just so you know.
Thank you, Bob. Well, nice to see everybody here. In fact, excuse me, I did want to speak about the tie, because about 5 years ago at this event, I'm in the financial planning business, and Steve's wearing this tie. It's a stock market tie. I said, what a great tie. He takes it off and he hands it to me. Here you go, buddy. It's yours. Well, there's something Steve didn't know. The tie is magical. In fact, I had spilled a little something on it. When I was rubbing the tie about 5 years ago, a genie appeared. And the genie said to me, he says, whenever you're wearing the tie, if you spin the meter and it hits a bull market, you will get the biggest return ever on your investments. But, the genie said, it's not for you. It's for whoever spins the tie while you have it on. So if you'd like to take your chances, thanks everybody.
Thank you so much. Now also, blessed with this event to have this magical entertainer. Where is he? Where's Christopher? As you know, Christopher Duffley has become sort of a megastar in Manchester and across the region. He's performed for the Pope, the Red Sox, all the major sports teams in Boston. But his best appearance every year is at the Bob Baines Blarney Breakfast, for sure. So he's going to put some great music before you today and sing a song that I think might bring a couple of tears to your eye. Please give a warm welcome to Christopher Duffley. And this is Mike Shaughnessy, who will be accompanying him. Mike is a graduate of West High. And last time I checked, I think he has about 20 kids, something like that. How many kids do you have?
Yes, you can.
How many?
We have
9 kids? And one on the way. West High, okay.
Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening. So, what's it? So, that's right. So, while he does that, I'm going to be playing you, well, not me, we are going to be playing for you a good song that I think is great. And for those of you back, there is I live. You got a friend. You got a friend.
Have a good day, everybody. Mr. Duffley and Mike Shaughnessy, let's hear it. Isn't he awesome? And he's becoming quite the handsome dude too. I don't know if you noticed that. So I want to make an introduction. I'm going to ask Steve Singer to say a few words too. In the house tonight is the former mayor of Manchester, Silvio Dupuy. Let's give him a warm welcome. And a story I always like to tell about Silvio, you know, he was mayor for 3 years, way back in the 70s, and whenever he walks into a room, people whisper and say, "He's still alive?" You know? Anyway, but when I lost my re-election bid in 2006, I said, my goal now is going to be to try to be as good an ex-mayor as Silvio Dupuy. Because, you know, you have so much cachet when you've served as mayor, and you're foolish if you don't use it, getting involved with nonprofits and helping charities achieve their goals and help so many people along the way. And I had the opportunity in 1998 to work for Eunice Kennedy Shriver at the Office of Special Olympics. And I went down there in a 6-month run a program that she had. She trying to convince me to come down there full time, which I resisted because it was a wonderful opportunity. But my last day there, I went in to see her, and she said, Robert, when you go back to Manchester, you have to get involved in Special Olympics. And I felt like saluting, because when Mrs. Shriver said something to you, you took notice. And I came back. When I became mayor, I decided to start the Mayor's Blarney Breakfast to support Special Olympics and March of Dimes at the time. And Tim Shriver, her son, was our very first guest speaker. In fact, he was scheduled to come last year, and the blizzard kept him away. So I kept my promise to do that and try to live up to an example that he set to try to keep the faith in terms of our community, the foundation of our community, and use whatever cachet that I had left to try to help these wonderful organizations. I mentioned the Red Cross and the Shirley Brulot Fund. But Sil has been a role model of the highest order with his dedication to this community. And you know, we wouldn't have the Palace Theater without his intervention as mayor. It was going to be torn down. And he intervened along with Attorney McLean, and the Palace Theater now draws more people downtown than the arena. That is how successful that theater is. So Silvio, thank you for all you've done for our community. And you know, after the time that I lost the election, we sputtered with our last Blarney breakfast. My sister Shirley had passed away. The family was in a funk, and we didn't put a lot of effort into it. And at the end of that, we had a meeting, and we said, that's it. It's been 6 great years, and we're going to call it a day. And Stephen said, oh, no, we're not. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I'm going to get more involved than I have been, and we're going to take this to another level. And that last year, I think we raised $15,000 net. And Stephen says at this meeting very boldly, I'm going to get involved, and we're going to net a minimum of $60,000 the first year I'm involved. And I said, Stephen, you're crazy. He said, well, you watch. So anyway, he put together a plan. I remember this guy's been selling used cars for a long time, so he knows how to do this. And we made our first stop to Delta Dental with Tom Raffio, who's such a great community citizen. And we didn't make a presentation. I sort of explained what we were trying to do with the charities and the history of my involvement. I told the story of Eunice Shriver, the whole thing. And then Stephen goes in and said, you know, Tom, we want you to be the lead sponsor of this event. And he said, well, Tom says, how much is it going to cost me? I think at the time it was $3,500. He said, okay. And we walked out, and Stephen said, see how this works? And so at the time, we used to go out and visit almost every CEO in the city to make the same pitch. And you know how much we netted that first year that Stephen got involved? $60,000. And we did that for a few years, then it went to 90, and now we're consistently over $100,000 with this unbelievable tenacity that he brings to this effort, and it's just incredible that he's become one of our closest friends. I've been to his wedding, his 70th birthday party. If you want to see an extravaganza, go to a Steve Singer party sometime. So please welcome Steve Singer.
Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us at this auspicious occasion. As almost everybody knows, the last 2 years we've had brutal snowstorms, and the event that was scheduled here at Martinetti had to be canceled the last 2 years. And we were praying that the weather would be good this year, and my wife came up with a nice little saying. She said, if it snows again, we're going to change the name from the Bob Baines Blarney Breakfast to the Bob Baines Blizzard Breakfast. Well, luckily it's still the Bob Baines Blarney Breakfast. First and foremost, I'd like to let everybody know what a wonderful experience it's been working with not only the recipient charities, but with the Baines family. Bob and his family are so dedicated to making our community a better place. He's a tremendous role model for me and for everybody in the community. And I'd like to personally thank you, Bob, for everything that you've done all these years. Not to talk too long, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out 4 or 5 sponsors who are here that I see. Of course, our naming rights sponsor, if you hold your applause till we name them all, Mark Hebert from the Harbor Group is here. Of course, Dean Williams from Marginetti, who generously donated this space and the spirits for this evening. Arthur Sullivan, who's been a tremendous sponsor for many, many years, from Brady Sullivan. And Matt Kafuri, who is a second generation sponsor. His dad and I used to have many conversations about this event, and Matt's followed in his dad's footsteps. So to everybody who's donated to this event, I apologize if I missed anybody. I happen to see those 4 sponsors. I'd like to thank you very much for all you've done. Thank you. Just one quick story about the Bob Baines Blarney Breakfast fundraising model that we use. As Bob said, this is our 19th year, and every year we have new and exciting features. We like to keep it fresh so that it's exciting, it's fun, and at the end of the day, it makes a difference in our community, which is so important. The first 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years, we were actually the naming rights sponsor, Merchants Automotive Group, and Shirley used to come to my office, and in those days, it wasn't quite the extravaganza that it is now, but we were glad to be part of it. And then, as Bob said, when Shirley passed on and Bob moved on to other adventures from public service as a mayor, he thought he might cancel the event, and as he told you, we came in and explained to Bob that even though he was no longer the sitting mayor, his cachet throughout the community was still there. And as he said, we went to Northeast Delta Dental and made the pitch, and Tom Raphael gave us $3,500. And then at the time, there was a new business in town, and I see some representatives from the business. It was Cross Insurance. And we went into Cross, we made an appointment with Royce Cross, I think, the owner. And when we went in, I said to Bob, I'm going to ask him for $3,500. Bob says, this guy's new in town, he doesn't know who we are. I said, Bob, let me handle it, okay? Don't let me handle it. So we go in, we have a wonderful conversation with Mr. Cross. He was a gentleman, a great guy. We made the pitch, and he said, how much would you like? I said, we need $3,500. He said, sure, no problem. Anything else? I said, I know you insure the Red Sox. How about some green monster seats? Sure, no problem. So after we walk out, I said, Bob, what do you think? He says, why didn't you ask him for more?
True story, yeah?
Well, in any event, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us this evening. I hope you can make it tomorrow morning. We're going to have an incredible event. We have the Willoughby brothers from Ireland. They're going to do a great job. We have Nabobo, who's going to be our inspirational guest speaker. It's going to be a great morning for the city of Manchester, our community. I thank you all for your support. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning.
Thanks, Steve. So we raised the bar. Next year's our 20th year, and I've given Stephen the responsibility of getting all 3 Irish tenors for our 20th celebration. We might need a real big sponsor, by the way, to help us with that. But
You handle it.
oh, yeah, I'll handle it. But a funny story. First of all, I want to thank, before I tell that, I want to thank my brother Al and my sister Sue and family, my wife Maureen, my daughter Christina and Catherine and Tim, who's an alderman for the city. He's doing a great job representing the city. My grandsons Jacob and Lucas. And if you want a history of any of the ancient wars and things that go on, Lucas will give you a 15 to 20 minute lecture on any of those topics. And so he's quite the young man. Both of them, we're very proud of our grandchildren. So a funny story, last year after the breakfast, the next day I had to be in Portsmouth and I was having coffee at a coffee shop out there and my phone rang and it was from New York City and I think it was, the IRS telling me they're going to put me in jail or something like that. And I answered it, and then the guy on the other line says, Bobby, this is Ronan. It was Ronan Tynan. He said, how did I do yesterday? And I said, you're asking me to give a review on how you sang? He said, well, I didn't think, the audience was that responsive. I said, well, everybody thought of Blizzard, Rona. You were fantastic. So he said, well, I feel much better now. So he has been an unbeliever. He's been here 3 times for the Blarney breakfast, and we've had 2 of his colleagues. So we're going to try to get them back, at least one of them back next year. So we thank you for coming. There's still a lot of great spirits. Thank Martinetti, and enjoy the rest of the evening to the Unicorn Band. Let's give them a round of applause.
When you're watching this 20 years from now,